6 months ago, on Friday the 13th, 21-year-old Mikhail Shaidorov from Kazakhstan won the Olympic gold in men's figure skating. Kazakhstan's second ever Olympic gold and the first ever in figure skating. Another first figure skating medal as Dagestan won bronze in 2014. Ever since February 13th, 2026, I've been wanting to make this video about people from small countries, small federations, making it into the big world. The dark horses, the unexpected success stories, the ones that locals of a given fandom would never think of rooting for. I'm Bosnian, and I grew up thinking and believing that I can't spread my wings the way I want here. I always ever thought about leaving this country the first opportunity I get to. And I was always thinking which country to choose where I will get my big break in, but it was still only reachable somewhere else. Whenever I would make something fun and borderline useful, which I considered as an invention in my child's head, my parents would always say, "Oh, that will never be appreciated here. You have to go to a country like, I don't know, the US to be appreciated there for your inventions." I grew up together with the rest of the youth here, hearing that it's good as long as bombs aren't falling out of the sky, and that was the end of our complaints. Thus, we were never making anything better for 30 years. As much as the internet is a curse nowadays, it has also stayed a big blessing because I always discover some new people that come from small countries, some forgotten places, and it always changes something in me. And it's easier to discover them through the internet, obviously. And as I discover every new person from a small country like myself, or an athlete whose state doesn't support them, a part of me lights up with hope. So this video is an ode to the underdogs. To understand the point I'm trying to make, I want to tell the story of Mikhail Shaidorov. I will call him Misha from now on because it's easier for me and I always call him Misha. Misha is from Almaty, Kazakhstan, and while it is a pretty big country in size, the athletes there don't get the support from the state and mostly have to fund themselves. His father, Stanislav Shaidorov, was also a figure skater and a three-time national champion in that. And Misha always talks about his father being a huge support for him and an inspiration. And, he talks about, wanting to give him absolutely everything. In 2018, he talked to his dad saying that he didn't have space to grow there, as an athlete anymore. And his father thought to call Alexei Urmanov. So Urmanov is an Olympic champion from 1994 Lillehammer Olympics. And they knew Urmanov from a camp from like a year back in 2017. And Stanislav called Urmanov asking if his son could train with him. And he said, okay, yeah, just come here and, we'll do it. So for that, he had to move to Sochi in Russia. And in a matter of a couple of days, his father sold his car so, he could train in Russia. His parents also moved with him, and Urmanov coached him for years without getting paid. It was mostly on a voluntary basis, and it was purely out of enthusiasm working with him because he really enjoyed working with Misha. Only recently did Urmanov and the coaches get an appropriate pay because usually a competitive figure skater has a bigger like coaching staff and they're coaches, choreographers. They have to work on two separate programs, competitive programs, and they usually like make some fun like gala programs as well, and all that costs money. And only last year, when Misha became the world silver medalist, yes, he won silver at the Boston World Championship, and Shaidorov said that everything changed for him then, and it was also the last year before the Olympics, and that World Championship happened at the end of the last season. So starting from next season, he had some requests from the state. He got some funding. He finally got to train in Almaty. He got a doctor as well, and he had some problems with injuries. So finally people were getting paid as they needed to, and it was the Olympic season. So the Olympic season is always the most important one, but it's not the only year that an athlete prepares for competition, obviously. So yeah, this last season, 2025-2026, was his first paid season. He could finally buy costumes himself, but it was still not like, but still not everything was covered, like the accommodation and travels weren't uh, accounted for fully. So, that's just the way that Kazakhstan pays. Well, like former Soviet states, former Soviet countries, former Soviet countries mostly have that same system. But yeah, let's not get into that. And one of the things I love most about Misha is how humble he is and how grateful he truly is to everyone, especially first and foremost his parents for supporting him uh, that long, and for not even keeping track of the finances, or well, how much they invested in him, and all that came back. And he also focuses on the love he gets from his fans and from people of Kazakhstan, ever since he won that world silver and now Olympic gold. So, the Winter Olympics 2026 came, and the head coach of the Kazakh Figure Skating Federation, Asem Robertovna, said Misha had a lot of anxiety. He was really, really stressed before leaving for Milan. He would call her at night, and before the flight to Milan, he called her asking, like, what if this, what if that. And he was thinking whether to bring his panda suit, and the panda suit is for the gala. So the galas are supposed to be fun, some fun programs. Usually some skaters perform their old competitive programs there, but a lot of skaters decide to do a new, like a fun thing, purely exhibitional, which would never go in competition, and with props. Also, props aren't allowed either in competition. So, all that. And his prop is a huge panda suit, and that became a spectacle on the internet after that. Like, he even met Jackie Chan. It was this whole thing. But yeah, maybe like a year ago or something, he performed this gala at the Grand Prix, and he also wanted to bring it to the Olympics, just in case they wanted him to perform there. And he didn't come there expecting fully, to win. Obviously, all skaters come there to win, to do their best. But what's most important for every one of them is to have a clean skate and to do the best that they train for, obviously. But yeah, Robertovna insisted on him bringing that panda suit. And, bring it. No what ifs. So he did. He did. He also said, like, as soon as he got there, he got to Milan, all his worries vanished, and he was kind of in that relaxed headspace, right? Then the short program came. So that's the first part of competition. There are two parts: the short program and the free program. And the short program is like, well, shorter one, and let's say more technical part of the competition. So he came there. He came in fifth. So basically, like, all of his hopes for a medal vanished there. And then the free skate came. He performed a clean skate. Only on one jump he landed like two-footed, and that's where he got a bit less points than expected. But he got a lot of points. And one thing about that men's event was that I think everyone there fell at least once, except for like two or three people, including Misha. So yeah, it was a mess. The whole event was a mess. And he said, "Okay, let's do this. The ice is slippery. Anything can happen." And he delivered that. He delivered the clean skate. And right as the music ended, he fell to the ground, crying of happiness. Not thinking that he would win, not thinking of a medal, not thinking of anything, just pure pride after a difficult season he had. And the fact that he had a clean skate at the Olympics, and with the music that he really wanted to skate to. And that is beautiful. He went to the kiss and cry, that like sofa chair where the skaters await their results. And he was crying with his coaches. It was so beautiful. He got his results and he took the first place there. And when he saw his results, he was really, really happy. Like, it was a high result. And I think even personal best. I know it was a season best, but I think also personal best. Yeah, he sat at the leader's chair. So four more people came. There were two like bigger favorites, let's say, to win this whole thing. And I don't want to talk much about them because a lot of people focus on the wrong thing after the event. I just wanted people to focus on Misha and his achievement, But basically, the huge, huge favorite to win this whole thing, Ilya Malinin, he had a terrible skate, really. Fell on everything. He lost his confidence. Like, after the first fall, he popped, I think, two jumps, and it was all over the place. He ended the whole competition on the 8th place, so nowhere near the medals, and everyone was shocked and everyone focused on him and his mishap. But not a lot of people focused on the Olympic champion, the fact that he was from Kazakhstan, that he won Kazakhstan's second ever gold in the Winter Olympics, first ever in figure skating, coming from the 5th place in the short to winning the whole thing in the free program. It was unbelievable, and the love he got later on, like coming back to Kazakhstan, he was showered with love. He met the president. He got a lot of cars. His family got a lot of cars, and it was so good. And I really, really love when a person like and you know and in all these like post Olympics, in all of his post Olympics interviews, he remained humble, and he would say that his hunger for getting better remains, and obviously new opportunities opened up for him, and now he's working with big names, more of the big names aside from the literal Olympic champion Alexei Urmanov. But yeah, it's this whole thing. He really, really inspired me after that. It was unbelievable. But yeah, basically, this is the story of someone whose odds were all against him, and he made it, to the top of the world, literally. And someone like that, especially remaining, humble throughout the whole thing, it really gives a lot of hope, a lot of confidence. Because, I know that Kazakhstan is a big country, but I also know that it's a small federation, that the athletes aren't supported, and I know that that's the case with my country as well. And just like a few weeks before the Olympics, I watched this movie, like a documentary about the free luge athletes from Bosnia and Herzegovina, restoring this old bobsleigh track and fighting, with the fact that they had lack of funding. They all had to fund themselves, and they had to fund the season, travels, the competition entries, all that. The coach was a volunteer since the 1984 Olympics in Sarajevo. He was there, but ever since then he was like working on growing luge in this country. But yeah, he always worked for free. He restored that bob track on his own, and I was left so angry after watching that movie. I was so in awe with those three boys and the man behind it all. And one of those boys, Mirza Nikolaev, ended up going to the 2022 Olympics. He should have gone to 2026 Olympics as well, but yeah, it's this whole story. It really shows how big of a deal successes like Misha's are. If you stay in Bosnia, you have some incredible athletes here as well. The most famous ones are the footballers, and the most famous one is Edin Dzeko. And then the neighboring country, Serbia, you have Novak Đoković. He has become arguably the greatest of all time tennis player at this point, but he only received funding when he started getting results. And it obviously doesn't work that you just ask for funding, promising results, saying, give me this, fund me, and I will give you results. But in small federations, in small countries, you get nothing until you're really, really, really persistent, even after getting big results and all that. But the thing is, in being very, very, very persistent about it. And then maybe we'll get. Moving on from sports, from the whole state funding situation, we have Adela Jergova, the Slovakian at this point pop star, which I'm really, really glad about, who got her big break going to Dream Academy, that competition of who will make it into the Cat's Eye group now. And Adela was the first one to get eliminated from the live show. They said they saw her as the solo artist more than being in a group. Then she became a solo artist, and an amazing solo artist at that, amazing performer. Just a few days ago, she performed at Lollapalooza, and she took over the internet. Everyone is talking about her. And at the Lollapalooza, she said,
because I'm originally from Slovakia. I don't know if you know. It's a really small country in the middle of Europe, and I always had this big dream of being this pop star on a stage one day, and I felt like, damn, I don't even know if there is a Slovak pop star. Turns out there's not, but now there is. And
like, you can see it on her face and hear it in her voice how happy she is that she is making history for her country. And honestly, she should be proud, she should be ecstatic. And I really love people like that. She's also a really nice person, and I'm really glad when people like that get their big break. And if we steer away from the Slavic countries, because I've been very focused on Slavic countries and former Soviet states as well, we can go to Cabo Verde, or Cape Verde, however you want to call it. This World Cup in football, the this small country has become a spectacle, and they also reported people getting much more interested about visiting that place because of the World Cup. And basically, it all started with a draw against Spain. So Spain became the world champions in the end. Their goalkeeper, the Cape Verde goalkeeper, Josimar Vozinha, he made 7 saves against Spain, securing Cape Verde's first ever point in the World Cup. And that's a huge deal to even like win a point or to win anything against a big country and a big football nation, especially as a really, really, really tiny country. It's a big historic deal for this country. And he got a lot of love, a lot of support from people. So before the game, and I will lie to you about the number, whatever I say, but definitely he had less than 500,000 followers on Instagram. After the game, he had quick fact check. After the game, he had 1.9 million followers. In that span of not even 2 hours, he got 2 million followers on Instagram. And when I checked his page, like 3 days later, he had over 10 million followers. And right now, he's at 29.4 million. So he's nearly at 30 million. Insane. And, as I said, the country is getting a lot of interest from tourists. And it's a huge thing. It's a huge, huge thing. It's literally changed his life. And I really believe that there are a lot of people from Cape Verde that feel the thing that I'm talking about. Watching people like that getting their big break probably lights up hope in them, like it does in me. And especially when it's someone from your own country, it has an even bigger impact. I made a whole video about what the Bosnian national team qualifying for this World Cup did to this entire nation, to the mentality of this entire nation. And it's really, really did. It gave us so much joy and hope for the first time in 30 years, after the war. And just one sporting event can change someone's whole mentality, someone like a nation's whole mentality, not just someone's. And it's also important for me to note here that while you should take inspiration, and it's really good if you take inspiration from people like this, especially if you're from a small country or from a small forgotten place. It's also important that you do not idolize anyone as much as they seem like a really nice person, a really good, kind person, all that, what they show, that you don't idolize anyone, that you don't idolize a human being, because staying true to yourself is what will get you somewhere. I truly believe that. I mean, I haven't gotten anywhere yet, but if I do, I will tell you about it. But yeah, take inspiration and take them as your motivation. Putting up pictures of some important women and saying, this is who I don't want to disappoint when studying and stuff. Oh, all that works. That's great. Good motivation. But do not idolize anyone. Don't idolize even the people you know. Be your own inspiration. Grow yourself and become your own inspiration, dude. Gender neutral term. And to end this, I also need to admit that this whole self improvement journey I'm on here, that the series I started, that the Becoming Academy, the fact that I'm pursuing my dreams, that I'm working really hard on staying true to myself as that, and really, really believing, really pushing, not letting myself wind off from this whole motivation, was kickstarted by people like this. So first by Mikhail Shaidorov, and later by the Bosnian national team even qualifying for the World Cup. And this was my selling point. This was my selling point. But I want to stay true to myself, because they gave me that glimmer of hope. They gave me that inspiration. They motivated me. But it's on me to keep growing by being myself. So yeah, I really hope you got this message, and I want you to take care. Until next time, sunshine people. That made it into the big world, 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 that made it into the big world. That's hard. That's hard.